All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April 27th convening of the FITCOG meeting. Good to have each and every one of you here on tonight. I see lots of familiar faces and names, and so that being the case, we can dispense with the introductions for this evening, and move to our next item on the agenda, which is to have Ms. Kimberly give us our meeting protocols.
Thank you, Chair. So we will begin with our mission statement. The FITCOG's mission is to work closely with the Commissioner in charge of the Portland Police Bureau, the leadership of PPB, and FIT members and command to understand, inform, and provide oversight and recommendations to the city's efforts to reduce gun violence in Portland. This will be done by remaining informed about gun violence trends, PPB, and FIT strategies, other City of Portland programs and priorities in supporting this work, and best practices for prevention, intervention, and response. And we do this utilizing our community agreements, beginning with how we listen. We listen to understand. We practice active and engaged listening. We validate others' feelings and experiences, even when they are different from our own. How we speak our truth with compassion. We speak for ourselves or the agencies we represent. We speak from our lived experience, expertise, and provide facts and details. We make room for other voices. We step up and/or step back. And how we engage with each other. We recognize this to be a brave space rather than a safe space. Truth at times will be uncomfortable to hear, but we remain committed to the process of peaceful dialogue. We recognize that trust is earned, but we also assume positive intent and goodwill, even when we disagree. We respect the professional limitations of certain roles within the group. We engage in proper self-care outside of FITCOG. We are mindful of the energy we bring into this space. We enter each meeting emotionally and physically prepared.
All right, very good. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And Ms. Kimberly, if you would, could you read the opening line of the mission statement again?
For sure. The FITCOG's mission is to work closely with the Commissioner in charge of the Portland Police Bureau, the leadership of PPB, and FIT members and command to understand, inform, and provide oversight and recommendations to the city's efforts to reduce gun violence in Portland.
Very good. I don't ever want us to lose sight of why we are here and why we are doing what we are doing. And it has already been the case, and it will probably continue to be the case, that others may not completely understand the closeness of the relationship between FITCOG as this group is and PPB. But make no mistake about it, if we're going to get anything done, we're going to have to be close to one another. We have to work with one another. We have to understand one another. We're going to have to disagree. We're going to have to disagree with one another at times to come to a place of agreement so that we can hopefully achieve the very best that's possible for safety and health and wholeness in a better community in which we live. It is for certain that leaving things unchanged and unchecked will get us nowhere. If we're going to make our city a better place, then changes and adjustments and modifications and what we do and how we do it are certainly the recipe of the day. So there you have it. All right, with that being said, want to hear from Sergeant Kula, LT, and Commander Jovic on an update on the FIT summary for this week. Turn it over to you, gentlemen.
Well, I'll start off. I don't have a lot to share other than we've been going through 2 weeks now of interviews for the detached position, and we've gone through, I believe, 21 candidates so far, and we still have one more week to go. Getting some really good interviews through the process here, and look forward to the next few candidates we have to go through next week and see what they have to say.
Okay. And any update on active work that FIT has been involved in the last couple of weeks that you can share with us? Or?
I don't have anything that really stands out in the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
So we've kind of been taking a break on our missions, and other than that, it hasn't been real busy the last couple of weeks. So as you know, we've been doing the interviews, and then we had a training night last night, and so I don't have any real big news for the last week or so.
Okay. LT, anything to add on the, I guess we need to update everyone on the results of the sergeant interviews?
Yep. So we selected a sergeant named Ken Huntinghouse to be the third sergeant for the FIT team. That was our third open position, and he will transfer in on May 11th. We had 5 candidates. We conducted interviews for all 5. We then conducted what's called a 360 review, which is getting a reference from a superior, a peer, and a subordinate. We looked at their internal affairs record. We looked at the personnel files. We looked at their discipline history, and we looked at what's called the EIS, the Employee Information System database. And kind of with all that factored in, our number one score on that came out of the interview process passed all those other phases of the selection process, and we were super excited to have him come over, and we think we got a really good one. So super happy about that, and thank you to the COG members that were part of that. Not nearly as long of a day as the detached interviews, but still it's a commitment, so appreciate that. The numbers as far as the shootings year to date, we're up to 327. There's been 24 homicides in the city of Portland, and then there was a double homicide at the Embassy Suites on the port property, and there's been 100 people that have been hit by gunfire this year. Moving on, I don't know if we've talked about this much related to the body-worn cameras, but
No, we haven't.
okay. The Bureau is going to start a pilot project with the body-worn cameras. The city and the union came to an agreement, and I don't know all the specifics of kind of the policy that we're going to have around that. But the FIT team and Central Precinct were both selected to be a part of the pilot project, and that'll probably start late summer. And then if all goes well and the equipment that we test is what we want to buy bureau-wide, then it'll be fully implemented potentially next April. Couple of things that will be part of the activation of a body-worn camera will be anytime a FIT officer turns on their siren, license siren, it'll automatically activate it. Anytime they deploy their firearm or their taser, it'll actively or it'll activate it. And I'm not sure exactly how that mechanism works, but there's technical devices that are put in that will trigger when those things occur, and it'll turn the camera on. The officer also will have the ability to turn the camera on himself or herself. and there'll be rules around what has to be recorded and what's not recorded. This just kind of came out to us as far as the policy being finalized with the city, the police bureau, and the union. But I believe there's some agreement on when an officer goes to an incident and the camera is activated, they're recording the whole incident, then they have to go write a report. I believe they write the report, then they have a chance to view it, and then maybe write an additional addendum to the report on kind of the discrepancies or maybe the differences, I guess. And so, but we're going to learn a lot more about that, and we'll share every detail with the new policy that we'll have on that. So that was kind of one of the contentions. We were trying to follow kind of national best practices, what most agencies do around the country. And I think we either got close to that or agreed on the middle ground. So anyways, that is, I think, all the updates I have. Any questions from anybody?
The type and model of body worn cameras that they're going to use, where are they at in use in other jurisdictions in the country? Do you know?
Well, I think almost every major metropolitan area in the country, their law enforcement, their city police or county police have body cameras. We're one of the last kind of holdouts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's kind of a misnomer out there that the police bureau was kind of the reason, but we wanted body cameras for years, and there's other reasons. Very expensive. Retention of all that video costs a lot of money, a lot of logistics around that. And so it's just kind of been pushed off, over different budget cycles. And I think someone had mentioned we've been, in these discussions about getting body cameras for about 9 years. So probably long overdue. I would say generally most officers in the police bureau are for it and excited about it. And I think, it captures what's happening. And a lot of times it's going to capture the good work that we do or show things, accurately. One thing we face is trying to counter like a false narrative. And I think these cameras are just going to show what happened, and then people can make their own decisions. So I think most officers are for it and excited. And Art Nakamura, volunteered the FIT team to be, one of the test groups. And so that's great. And so they'll have an opportunity to kind of wear it, see how they work. And then I'm sure there'll be, certain sort of, surveys or opportunities to critique, what's working, what's not working, fix the kinks, make it better. So when you finally go bureau wide, there's a smooth transition.
Okay. But are these camera units sort of the standard issue that we see in other jurisdictions around the country?
So if that's what you're asking, I don't know. I don't know what model, what company necessarily.
I know it's an Axon camera, which is the company. Pretty sure it's the former company named Taser. They changed their name to Axon, I believe, and I'm 95% sure that's the brand that we're getting.
And can we find out if this is the latest and the greatest version of this brand of body worn camera?
Yeah, I think moving forward, we'll get a lot more information, but I was not part of any of those work groups, any of the, the training division review of what equipment we should or should not get. So, but I'm sure we'll be brought up to speed pretty quickly in the next month or two, especially since FIT is gonna, be part of the pilot project. So.
Right, okay. Taylor, I see your hand.
Thanks. Yeah, I read a blurb about this, but I haven't had the time to really kind of look into the completely what the decision making was when it comes to the agreement. But if do you know, or can you confirm, I know, the biggest consideration was around pre-review, whether or not that should be like what order of operations there should be around that. Am I understanding correctly that the agreement is that they're going to allow, or they're going to have officers submit kind of a preliminary report, and then after they submit a preliminary report, then they can review the footage and write a secondary or supplementary report? Is that essentially the agreement?
I believe that's what I've heard.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Hey, this is Commander Jovic. I just want to step in. You guys have all the same questions we do at this point. So I think it would be irresponsible of us to answer a bunch of questions about the subject, because we just found out about it last night. So we need to go through training and get up to speed, just like the FIT team does, to get all these questions answered for ourselves, so we can relay to you good, solid information.
All right, sounds good. Well, we'll stand by to get the latest and the greatest, because this is a pretty big move. I want to make sure these guys are in the best position possible. So. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Next on our agenda was an status update from Stephanie on the gunshot detection town hall. She's not able to be here with us tonight, but she did send a written update. So I'll just go ahead and read that into the record and into your hearing on tonight. So she says the gunshot detection town hall with ShotSpotter and Eagle took place earlier this week, and I think a lot of useful information was provided. We will be posting the video recording and presenter PowerPoints today, and in brackets she says, I think, and I will send a link. We have asked the presenters to answer questions posed in the Q&A, and we will also post that when we have them next week. Then the RFP scoring process will be complete, because I asked her what's the next steps beyond the results of what happened on I believe it was Tuesday evening. She goes on to say that PSU's analysis of the community survey is wrapping up this week, I believe. We will make the data available publicly as well. Once that analysis is complete, the mayor, Chief Lavelle, and council officers will discuss next steps. And then she adds another paragraph here about what we just heard, speaking of the body-worn cameras. She says, also yesterday, City Council unanimously approved a body-worn camera policy that begins with a 60-day pilot. The FIT will be among the first officers to wear them and provide feedback. Trainings are in the works, and we are looking at the pilot beginning in August. So that's Stephanie's report on both the gunshot detection town hall, the RFP process, and then this new news, which we all just heard a few moments ago, about the approved body-worn cameras, and the fact that the FIT team will be among one of the first groups to use it in the pilot programming process. Ms. Kimberly.
I actually have a walk back question. Going back to the body worn cameras real quick, is there a any type of metrics being used as part of this pilot program? Any kind of measuring that is being done? I'm just curious because it's, we have the FIT using them, and then we have, is it downtown? Is that right? Central?
Central.
Which is
Yeah, the
very,
entertainment detail.
right. So, and similar, but also different work. And so I'm just curious, are we facing some sort of measurements that we should know about, I guess?
I would like to answer or an answer to that question as well. I don't know what the performance metrics are, but I'm sure there are some.
Okay.
And if they haven't been set yet, I'm hoping we have a voice in setting those. But when we figure those out, I'd be happy to report back.
Excellent. Thank you.
You betcha.
Okay. Anyone else before we move ahead? All right, good to see you, Terrence and Ronnie. You guys have joined us. Good to have y'all on tonight. Appreciate that. Appreciate your presence always. All right, so we're gonna move into a couple of administrative details and things that have been, kind of hanging out there that we need to, get nailed down, as soon as possible because, we really want to be in. I guess if I can use some of our operational terms, we want to be in policy with where they want us to be as an advisory group. So, they've been actively trying to get us all to activate and stand up our City of Portland emails, and we got a couple got a couple folks still on the outside looking in. There's just there are a lot of steps to the process, and we have to hit all the little steps to get them done, and we can't do C until we get A and B done. So Ronnie, we need a response from you back to Miss Edith. Again, she's there and available to walk you through the process from from start to finish. And then Terrence, understand there's some what do you call it, Miss Edith, an agreement or some type of policy we need a signature on?
Yes, it's a vendor contractor form.
A
And
vendor contractor form, yeah. So we both have offered to get that to you, but we need that document executed, and then once we have that, then we can move forward with the next process. And the thing that's happening now is Miss Edith is now prohibited from sending any communications regarding the work that we do to personal emails any longer. So everything is going through your city email. So if you don't have your city email, then you're going to be out of the communication loop, and we don't want that for any of you guys. We all want to keep moving ahead together. So please, if you do everything that you can, to get this process wrapped up like as soon as possible. Any questions or concerns, gentlemen?
No, nothing on this side. I do have my email. I just have to, well, I forgot my password, but I'll get on it.
Okay. Well, we're here to help. And so, just reach out and, let us know how we can help, and we'll get it done. Terrence, anything from you?
I feel like we should discuss this in the confidential section. No, I got you. I got y'all, man. My bad. I got it though. I got you. Pastor, next time you talk to me, Miss Edith will hear from me and I'll tighten up. Don't worry, okay? I got you.
Whatever we need to help, bro. We just here to help.
I know
we want to get you squared away.
Y'all been amazing. All right, I got you, Pastor. Don't worry about it.
All right, okay. All right. And then, you know, coming right on the heels of that, there are some training videos that, you know, that we all need to go through. And again, you know, these are available to you from Ms. Edith through your City of Portland email. And so everybody who has one, you know, check your email again for that, for those slide decks and videos, and you know, let's get the review completed on those materials. Okay. And then the next exciting thing that we need you all to do, and if you have not done it yet, and I know several of us, of you guys have not, but we want to get you a ride along in with the FIT team. You know, in the opening statement that we read tonight in our communication protocols, we talked about how, you know, we are to work closely, you know, with you know, the commissioner in charge of PPB, and with the command structure, and, you know, with the team. And one of the ways that you can really understand better the work that is being done and how these guys are going about doing their work is to participate in a ride along. There's nothing like experiencing it, you know, personally and in person, and experiencing it in real time. So we can sit in this space and talk about it, you know, from a theoretical standpoint all we want, but until you actually see it in action, man, I think you just really shorten yourself on the knowledge base that you need to have to really truly, you know, have a better understanding of the work that's going on. All right. And then there's also an upcoming Community Police Academy training opportunity. Ms. Edith, is that still open or has it closed yet?
Let me check my email. I believe the close date is in May, the first week in May. Perhaps Lieutenant Doolio could speak to that, but I'll check my emails and I'll be right back with you.
Okay. So there's a Community Police Academy opportunity out there. This will give you information, you know, about police process and procedures and how things are done in a broader context. It's not specific to the FIT team, but it's you know, a broader context with regard to how you know, PPB works, you know, as a whole. And so you know, another opportunity for us to become a little knowledgeable about you know, police work and how it's handled. So if you have the opportunity and can, you know, I want to encourage you to, you know, to go to that as well.
Okay, I found it. The close date, Pastor Williams and members, was April the 14th. The academy is on the 23rd.
Okay. Well, guess we can't go. But I believe they offer a couple of these during the year. Is that right, LT? Because I think the other one was offered in the fall of the year.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I can actually speak to that. I used to run the training division. If you guys get an opportunity to go, it is a fantastic opportunity. And only about half of it's sitting behind a desk listening to trainers. A lot of it's actually hands-on, scenario-based training, stuff that we actually go through during our in-service training. And you'll throw on a belt and all the gear and get to experience that. So it's a fun day of learning and experience.
And a quick correction, Pastor Williams, that it begins on the 13th. I apologize, May 13th.
All right, thank you for that. Okay. There's one item that's not on the administrative issue, and I want to bring it up. again, those of us who have the city emails, we all saw this, but for everyone other than Terrence, Sean, and Tay, the rest of us have been serving on the FITCOG either since its inception or shortly thereafter. And we're at the point now, according to the bylaws, where if we want to continue serving in this capacity, we need to send a notice of intent to, or at least request to be, what's the word I'm looking for, Ms. Edith?
Reappointed.
To be
Reappointed.
reappointed to serve on the FITCOG. And I think the way in which you can accomplish that would be to just, Stephanie said, to just simply send her an email letting her know what your desire is. If you want to be reappointed, send her an email in the affirmative and let her know that that's what you'd like to do. If you don't send one, then they will presume that that once our 2-year quote tenure is concluded, then you've made the decision to step back from serving in this capacity. So if you want to serve or continue on, then send an email to Stephanie. If you do nothing, and I believe the date on that is May 4th. Ms.
Yes.
Edith?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So by or before the close of business on May 4, you need to have submitted your intentions to Stephanie. If she hears nothing from you, then the presumption is that you do not want to continue, and they will certainly honor your wish. Okay. So again, that's for everybody other than Sean, Tay, and Terrence, because they came in. They've just recently come into the process and haven't been on board for have been on board for less than a year now. Okay. Any questions? Any concerns by anybody? Okay. All right. Very good. Ms. Kimberly, you want to talk about the one item that you mentioned that we ought to add to the agenda with regard to potential agenda topics or updates by others?
Yeah, sure. So I wanted to make space with each of our meetings that if there's something that's bubbling up with you and you think that it's pertinent for us to have discussion on, we want to make sure that we get it on the agenda. So if you could provide just an email to Pastor Ed, Ms. Edith, and myself, that would be great. And then we can prioritize those things that you bring up and get them on agenda as well. Just wanted to make sure that we were making space for that.
Okay, so that's so that we can cover any additional items or put them on the agenda and make them a part of our meeting that we may not have covered, in the sort of standard meeting agenda that comes out on a bi-weekly basis. Okay. All right. We'll move ahead. I'll hold off on the FITCOG social gathering. We'll cover that real quickly in the confidential session. We don't want to consume too much public time with that. But I do want to move ahead and talk about the proposed subgroups that we had mentioned a few weeks ago. We talked about establishing a subgroup from our broader group that would focus its attention on the topic of focused deterrence and services, and then a second subgroup that would focus its attention on the VIP process or the VIP study that we learned about down at the conference in Tampa. I recall from our at least initial discussions about that, Gina, you certainly had a pretty high interest in the focused deterrence / services subgroup. So I'm wondering, would you be willing to take the lead in the development of background and materials in that area?
I'm certainly willing to do some work on that. I don't want to be the only person doing work on that. So if other folks would like to, that are interested in that topic, that are willing to maybe do that with me, I can be like a point person, but there's a lot of digging because there isn't a whole lot out there. So I could really use help with folks pulling up some research on that stuff. And it's probably going to involve just sort of scouring some of the scholarly databases to see what we can find on those topics, not just using sort of like pop news as a resource, but like actually like looking into some hard data around some of that stuff. So if there's any folks that would like to help, that would be awesome.
Okay. Do we have any takers tonight on the issue of focused deterrence / services?
I have a question about that. So I'm happy to start doing some research on that. But it's been a minute since I've had access to academic journals. Is that something that you can access through like the public library, or is there a way that we can access like the PSU library services or something that way we can get those? Or do you have a suggestion on that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that's probably one of the first things that we would need to do in the group is figure out what are the resources that are available to us, and then maybe kind of come up with a list of what is sort of easily accessible. I know that some of the scholarly journals, you have to pay membership fees or you have to buy an article. We might not need to do that if we're looking at, depending on like how far back in the research and how new we want to go. I know that some of those articles then do get released. And I might still have some access to some journal bases through my university as well. So we can figure that out. And I think the original plan too, I just wanted to mention this, was that because focused deterrence was connected with services, I know that Sean and Lionel were really interested in the service piece of that. And so what I'm kind of imagining is we can divvy up the work. So for those that are really interested in the service component, that's where your focus would be. And then for those that are interested in looking at the actual justice platform so there's like multiple pieces of focused deterrence. The services is but one piece of it. There's other pieces that have to go into sort of the enforcement side of that. And that's the side that I'm going to be looking into. And so I just wanted to, and then I think the idea would be that we would bring sort of our work together to see how these pieces would fit together, and potentially work in Portland if we were to implement something like that.
Okay. And I would envision a similar approach and similar process, for those who have an interest in the VIP study as well. And I certainly have an interest in that. So I'd be willing to work on that. And any takers on that particular project for that study? Or do I need to draft people since this is a draft night?
I'm gonna take on both items. I'm just trying to manage my bandwidth over the next couple of weeks. I can just put that out there.
Well, I'm sure this effort will take several weeks. So, we'll have to put some time into it. So no problem. Victor, can I bring you along, sir?
I think I have expressed my interest in the service model group before.
Okay.
With my computer deficiency, I'm not the best person to research through the computer.
Okay, so we just may send you down to the library then.
Yeah, that I can do it.
Okay.
Or if we can do it, not to push on it, Victor, would it be helpful if anything was, if we can get some stuff printed up?
Yeah.
Would that be more helpful? Okay.
I mean, if it is not too difficult to do the computer search, I can do the basic thing. But a lot of the time, you people will do all these things, and I have no clue how you do it. I'm real good already that the city helped me to set up this email account.
Exactly. I'm right there with you.
It took me a long time, and I have to really say that the staff at the city is super good.
Yep, they will hold our hands, and I appreciate them.
All right, very good. All right, so I lost Victor to the services side. Okay, so I'm gonna go after Ronnie and Terrence. Can I get y'all to work with me on this VIP stuff?
Yeah, I actually voted on the services side.
Ronnie on the services side, man, okay.
Right.
All right, Terrence, can I get you? So he done went silent on us. Hey, Sean, good to see you checking in, sir.
How's it going, Pastor Ed?
Okay.
I'm outside by a busy street, so I'm going to try to stay muted, but I'll jump in and chat.
Okay. Yeah, so we're, I don't know if you've caught any of this lately, but we're just kind of picking sides again on which of the two subgroups that folks want to engage in and do some research in. And obviously, if you want to go through, participate in both groups, you can, but, certainly there may be, one of these two topics that a person has more interest in than others. And we recall from our previous discussion that you were, kind of leaning towards the focused deterrent service side of the equation. And so we're just trying to, for tonight's purposes, see where people are still at, so that we can start moving forward with that research and work. So. Are you still the services focused attention for focused deterrence guy? Interested in both? Okay. All right, got it. Okay, so there we go. So Sean is interested in both, but his contribution would be more towards building services. Okay, so Gina, looks like you got a whole cohort there.
Great.
Great, okay. All right. And then the final thing that I have for tonight, before we go into the confidential briefing, is just just an update or reminder of our meeting cadence. You know, we're right now in an every other week cycle. And given the trajectory that we're on at this point, our next meeting would be May 11th, and then again on the 25th. And then in the month of June, it would be June the 8th, and then June the 22nd. And somewhere in between the end of May and the end of June, we'll have to do another administrative thing, which is to choose the position of chair and vice chair will be up for filling or continuation as we go into the next 2-year cycle. And so, you know, we'll have to make a decision along that line as a group. But I'm sure Stephanie will give us more specific details on the when and the how that will take place. And we'll also provide that for you as well. Okay. All right. As I look at our participants, you know, from a public standpoint, you know, we have no individuals who are hanging out with us from a public standpoint. So, you know, there are no comments to take from them. Ronnie dropped in the chat. Can we vote? Can we vote you in again? We have to go through the process, brother. But you know, you can let your preference be known when we go through that process, and when we get to that time. So so for tonight, then, unless you guys have any other questions or comments or items for us to talk about at this point, unless there's any more, then we'll bring this public session to a close and go into our confidential briefing. So before we do that, any questions, any issues, any concerns from anybody? Okay, I don't see any, don't hear any. So Ms. Edith, if you would you stop the recording?